Hi guys, welcome to a quick recap really of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We're just going to have a little chat about all the variations, then we can get on, you see, to get the next piece. I don't want to hang around too much on Suzuki Bk1. We have done it all before. If you pop along to Telltale Kids and just put in a search on that podcast, you'll find all the previous recordings that I've done. I'm just going to turn my drone down a little. It's a bit drowning me out, is it? I hope you can hear that, sort of. Always work with a drone, darlings. Please always work with a drone or some sort of backing. What have I got? I've got the GarageBand, and this is the cellos. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to put the bass on as well. Just because I find the bass quite grounding. And we'll put the whole orchestra on in a minute to do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I think that's a really nice idea. And it kind of helps you think about playing with other people. So to recap, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I hope you're listening every day, all day, over breakfast, while you're eating your toast, in the car. Mum, Dad, put it in the car, when you go to bed at night to get to sleep to. We put the whole Suzuki tapes on. I mean, what else you can do but shut your eyes? And it'll become so embedded in your psyche. And this is what Suzuki relies on all the time. Mimicry, because that's how babies learn to talk, isn't it? That's why by 2 we can all speak, pretty much. We don't necessarily know all the words, but we can, we can copy all the vocabulary that our parents have been using with us, and this is really exciting. And that's the sort of philosophy behind Suzuki. I mean, there are other things as well, but it's quite fail-proof, because all you're doing is lots of runs on the same note. The thing with the staccatos is you have to push energy in and then stop the energy and then do the same. And don't lift, the most important thing is don't lift the bow off the string. So you don't want to be doing this. Bouncing, no bouncing. Okay? And it does sound a little bit awkward. I always think it doesn't sound so nice while you're learning. But it will do eventually, so don't worry about that. What I want you to focus on is just this energy in and then stopping. And we'll talk about playing from your back and your shoulder rather than your wrist. For the moment, we want to learn about it. For this book, it's all about learning again about engaging the torso, I would say. So, although it sounds better if you just use your wrist, that's quite an advanced bowing technique. So for the moment, whole body, okay? That's what I do. And the reason that that's good is because it helps us understand that our whole body is a very important tool for learning the cello, because the cello's, I mean, actually all instruments require the whole body to be engaged, but the cello almost more than anything else, because it's touching our torsos. So this idea that you're getting a really good engagement by using your shoulder, lifting that elbow. You see, I've got my elbow nice and high. And what you can do as well while you're learning this piece is you can do it really near the frog. Third of the way up, halfway up, tip. Don't do it that fast. Okay? Practice all different parts of the bow and start to understand. But when you're starting off, nice and slow, okay? There's no point in hurrying this. We want to do, of course, when you get really good at it, you'll just speed ahead. But while you're starting it up, do it really, really slow. So hopefully you've got the tapes. So the group of 4 is just backwards and forwards, literally backwards and forwards. And then the 2. Now what I'm going to do today actually is find some theory written how to read music, and I'm going to be describing all the names of the notes and how they look. So that'll be really useful, especially if you read the transcript. It should make much more sense. So I think that's all we need to worry about. Actually, yeah, okay, so here, when you're putting, this is open, this is bar 7, and you've got the string crossing, and then you've got all 4 fingers down for that 4th note. And when you lift your pinky up, make sure the other 3 stay down, and then the 1. Okay, so we don't want any flailing around with waving fingers. We want them all now nicely down. Okay, and so it goes on. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. So let's have a quick look then at the next bit. So the next bit, etc. I quite like that one. Down bow, up bow, down bow, up bow, down bow, up bow. So in case you don't know, the square bit is the bit near the frog, so you can recognise it because it's the frog is a square end, and the pointy bit is your the top of the bow. Okay, so that's kind of obvious. All these notes are staccato, so they're nice and short. And what I quite like to do when I'm practicing is get my staccatos shorter and shorter. So that's quite long, and then this would be quite short. And you would never play it like that, but it's a quite good way of practicing, because then you sound, you just, for some reason, it helps your body understand the process of the staccato notes. Okay. No, C. Well, how does this go? Okay, so etc. You've got one staccato and in each group of 3. So can you hear the difference? Between the staccato and the non-staccato. So now make sure you're not you've got all 4 fingers down. Okay, I mean, when you're copying this, because you've listened to it over and over again, you're going to automatically do all these things because you know how it's supposed to go. So I'm just being a little bit scientific. Option D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single note is now a group of 4. Okay. Now, I keep it about that speed. You can get faster later on, but you know you're using a technique. I quite often use that technique actually. It's a sort of it's an orchestral technique, and it's really good for recording actually. So, and the theme, of course. We've got a nice, we play it nice and loud. It's quite march-like, it's quite sedate really, but because we've got staccatos and then a nice long note there at the end of each second group. Okay, so I think was, as long as you've learnt these pieces, I mean, obviously you have to learn them. Let me see what was on the other side. I think we've done all the other stuff. So I'm going to pop up in a minute. I'll pop this up and I'll do the transcription, but I'll also find a couple of my recordings of it, and you can play along to it. Because what I did was, put a drum track on, which is really good for keeping time, so you keep really nicely in time. Shall I play? I'll let you play it now, but what I'll do is I'll play the backing track for you for a minute or two, because it's a really good way of practicing. So, shall we have full orchestra? I think so. Let's get the violas in. I love violas. And some violins. Okay, so I'll just run that for a few minutes so that you can practice. Okay guys, now something else I'll just recommend actually that you do is that you, when you've got your backing track on, that you, if you're unsure of the tune, a really good way to learn it is to sort of sing it. So I mean, I'm a terrible singer, but if you, and I was following the notes there, so I was saying them in my head. It's really good for practicing rhythm, actually. You don't need to worry so much about being a bit off tune. I wouldn't, we're not singing students, we're cello students. Of course, it'd be lovely if we could hit the right note with our vocal. But really, doing that is looking at things like rhythm and space. And then, of course, the next thing is to mime it. So now I'm using my bow, but I'm not touching the strings. And it's a bit like practicing without having to worry too much about pressure on the bow. So, and what you can do is you can focus on other things, perhaps articulation, you know, how you're going to push into a note, or if you're not going to push into it, if you're going to be quieter and then louder and then quieter. All of these things you can think about when you're miming. So I use all of these things when I practice. And the other thing with practicing over and over again until you're happy with the sound that you made. I was a bit squeaky there, bit squeaky there, bit squeaky there. How do I like to hold it? Nearer the bottom, in the middle, towards the tip. When I swap strings, how do I want to do I want to use my forearm? That was using my forearm. It doesn't seem to make such a nice sound. If I lift my arm and use my shoulder, I'm getting a much nicer sound. What about if I just use my wrist? No, it's not really working for that. Oh, that's not to say you won't be using your wrist later on, because you will. But every tune has the best way for you and your body to play the notes. Okay? And when you practice, it's about finding the way that your body plays perfectly in synchronization in terms of ergonomics, quality of sound, intonation, articulation, with your person, your personality, but also your physicality. It's really important. Your body is not my body. So you're going to play that note in a slightly different way. But what I can tell you are sort of rudiments, basics, how you're going to get a prettier sound, which bit of your body is going to be required. Okay? And I'm pretty sure for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it's all about relaxing those thighs, lifting that shoulder up nice and spaced, lifting the elbow, the upper arm, keeping the wrist quite flexible, but I've got real purpose in my shoulder when I'm doing that for the best sound. So that's what all the things that you should be looking at. If that's all a bit too much for you, don't worry about it. Just play what you hear, because that's also very important. But I know some people like the technicalities and they want an in-depth explanation. Of course, when we're doing a podcast, the explanations have to be quite thorough. So there we go. Play from the back, please. The shoulder. Lift that elbow. Stretch the torso. When you're playing the A and the D, you want this lovely line to create this almost a triangle as you come towards the tip. But if you stretch your torso so that your back's really straight and you've completely relaxed your thighs, you're going to find that you will play better. If you're slumped and your arm is down, you won't get that beautiful resonance. It just won't happen. So there we go. I'm going to do quite a few things today. I'm going to do some John Ryan's polka from the grade 8, and also we're going to be doing all of the D scale. As I want my ABRSM students and my Suzuki students to sort of work in parallel with each other. So we really need to know the D major scale today before you carry on with the Suzuki book. So we're going to do that. And some other stuff. We've got lots of fun stuff. We're going to do some piano later as well. Tail Teller Club, or tail-teller.club. And all these podcasts are completely free, of course. If you want private lessons, you can subscribe and we can chat about things. And you don't have to have a lesson, but you can talk to me and I'll give you a bit of feedback as well. So you might want to sign up. Who knows?